So this week, I've been pretty busy working on a lot of different projects, and that includes casting and molding heads and sculpting and just all kinds of stuff. And so I checked the news and tried to see if there was anything new out there before the show. And I did come across some pretty good stuff, and so you probably heard about this yourself. So if you're a stop motion fan, Wallace and Gromit, of course, has been around for however many years, like maybe I'm gonna say like 25 years or something. I'm trying to think when the first Wallace and Gromit film came out, which was A Grand Day Out. And so Nick Park, of course, went on to work for Aardman, and they ended up making several feature films, and of course, The Wrong Trousers, which is a great short film. Hey Omar, what's going on? So this came out on the 21st, and it says new Wallace and Gromit project in work, says Nick Park, and goes on to say that Nick Park has ideas for a few new adventures for the calamitous couple. So I don't know. They're saying it might be on the screen in the next couple of years. So I don't know if that's really possible if they're just in the idea stage now, but maybe they're in the process of writing. So it says here, yeah, for example, it says Park's last film, Early Man, took about 5 years to make all in, whereas writing aside, he says a 30-minute short takes about 1 year to film. So I guess maybe he's gonna work on a shorter version of a. It's not gonna be a feature, perhaps. It says incidentally, the film rate hasn't changed really since he began 30 years ago. Completing 3 seconds a day is quite a good day, and it's the same at Aardman now, he says. And what can fans expect? He says, I feel I'm onto a good idea, Park shares, and I can't give too much away because it would spoil it, really. But it's Wallace and Gromit up to their old antics. So probably, of course the characters are going to be the same. I mean, will it have a Game of Thrones ending? I'm not really sure, but I can't really imagine anything outside of, comical interactions happening here. But he says he thinks of the 1993's Oscar and BAFTA winner The Wrong Trousers as the benchmark for his well-intentioned inventor and loyal canine companion. He says, I tend to hold The Wrong Trousers as a model, so to speak, for a perfect story. That one seems to have gone down the best, and I think it is the best one, and there's a simplicity about it that's effective. Less is more. With Feathers McGraw, the penguin. And he says, I'm not saying this will be exactly like that, but there may be more than one speaking character. It's trying to keep the story simple, although the setting can be big. So I think that he means to say non-speaking, because Feathers McGraw did not speak. So I think that might be either a typo or he just misspoke. And if he didn't misspeak, it would be kind of weird if there wasn't more than one speaking character, right? So I do believe that this is just he misspoke there. Now, if you guys ever watched The Wrong Trousers, and I'm sure, like I say, most of you guys have, and I've watched it, dozens of times, it seems like, because it's one of my favorite films. Yeah, we can talk about Dark Crystal, Omar, actually, after this. I was going to show a couple of pictures of that, actually. And yes, Hoserlu, that actor did, I think his name was Peter Sallis, and he did pass away a while back. So I don't know who's going to do the voice. Oh, okay, sure. That'd be great, Hoserlu. So anyway, the pacing of The Wrong Trousers and the story of Wrong Trousers, yeah, it was kind of a simple story, but the thing that I really liked about it was the timing of the shots and how, it was almost like when they were making it, they didn't really mind making a shot as long as it, was needed to get a point across. And nowadays, a lot of films, it's the scenes are so fast, one after another, one after another, and it's like, yeah, you can get into it, but it's almost like you feel rushed to get to the end of the film, whereas everything is really relaxed in The Wrong Trousers, and it's exciting when it has to be, and because the pacing of it is so slow in the beginning, when you do get to those faster scenes, they have more of an impact on you. So that interplay of the timing of things, switching back and forth from slow pace to fast pace is one of my favorite aspects of the film itself. So it says that Park is also eyeing a possible return to his mockumentary series of Animal Vox Pop's Creature Comforts. Yeah, Peter Sellers. That's yeah, not Salas. Sellers probably. Well, no, is it Sellers? No, Peter Salas. All right, we'll have to look that up in a bit. I don't remember the spelling. All right, VB's is saying Peter Salas. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure it is, not Sellers. Yeah. I did have to think though, but yeah, there's no comparison between those two people, or in reality, is there? So Rennie says the Wrong Trousers. He was saying the only Wallace was the only speaking character of the three main characters. Gromit and the Penguin didn't speak. Yeah, but I mean, in terms of all the films that they've made, he's always interacted with people, outside of that film. But yeah, I guess that would make sense. Yeah. So he goes on to say, I've always loved the idea of doing more on creature in the creature comforts vein. He admits. There are so many people out there you can interview, so you'll never run out of material and diverse characters. I meet people and think they are definitely on the list. I'd love to come back and interview them. And you know what's interesting about this, and this kind of charm of talking to people and interviewing them and then portraying them as characters is very similar to a game that I play a lot. It's just not really a game, but it's for socializing, called VR Chat. And if you guys have ever watched some of the videos out there, there's a VR Chat for a bird that is a North Korean, has a North Korean person behind the avatar, and he goes on to talk about his experiences. And it's had, I think, like over 1 million views. And there was like a fundraiser for this guy, and he ended up meeting the creator of the YouTube channel. But there is something very funny about Creature Comforts in the same way, where they animate, like especially when kids are talking and they have, there's like a clay bird or something, or a clay cat, and it's a child speaking, and for some reason that always cracks me up. It's just because, you're taking this ball of clay and making a very, cartoony, bulgy-eyed, really dopey looking creature in essence, and when you add that kid's voice to it, it just does something. It just cracks me up. But hey, Animadast. So anyway, so Park, let's see here. So Park is not alone for his interview. Wallace and Gromit are on the table. Their transportation being their own branded lunchbox. Okay. Having dreamt up the pair for his graduation project. So they go into the history here. So yeah, this is a really good interview here. But the main point I wanted to get across was so Wallace and Gromit are coming back, and so the question is, how long will the film actually be? And it says he says a 30-minute short takes about 1 year to film. But does that mean he's making a 30-minute short? And I guess that must be the case. That's gonna be awesome. Either way, it's gonna be great. Okay. That's actually your name. Anyways. So let's move forward. So anyhow, yes, I guess the timing is great for a jiggle. Um, so moving forward, I found this in the news, which is kind of interesting. It says child sex abuse victim tackles personal trauma in new film. And when I first saw this story, I thought, well, it's kind of interesting, I guess. And there's not like a lot to go by on this page, other than the story of Tim Mercier, and he says it says here that it won the jury prize at this year's Scottish Mental Health Arts Festival, and also took home the Personal Narrative Prize. And it says here, a brave and deeply personal documentary about his own experience of childhood sexual trauma, and it says Mercier created it during his recovery from a mental health crisis. So evidently he had some sort of flashbacks, perhaps, of his experience, and decided to use clay animation as a way to, like a therapy, essentially, to get through his trauma. So he said, about 5 years ago, when I went through a pretty serious mental health crisis, I realized that 38 years later, I still hadn't really told anybody at all. So he kept it a secret. And he says, so at the advice of an NHS counselor, Mercier, a filmmaker by trade, started to document his thoughts and feelings about the past. He goes on to say, it is a really homemade film. I only used a tiny camcorder and the tools that were around me at home. I began filming myself, thinking and talking about my experience as a child. So I tried to find a link, and at the bottom of the page, the film link was here, and so I clicked it. And so we're going to watch maybe like 5 minutes of this, and it's actually really intriguing and very interesting how this is shot in a kind of documentary style about the process that he used, and also actual animation. So let's watch some of this.
I don't really know what I'm doing with animation. I can just do the best I can with what I can teach myself and learn. Cue trees, camera set, and action. Tim!
Cut! Reset, please.
Right, come along.
Sorry. How can I help?
Why does he believe it?
Your mum seemed to trust him, remember?
I wouldn't get in the car.
And you're really needing fatherly attention.
Am I?
Yep.
If you say so. Come on. I didn't buy it. I wouldn't get in the car. It's a script, darling. Just read it. Alright. You're wearing a bright jersey.
Oh, yeah. For school. It's new.
Like a bee or a wasp, I think, don't you?
Yes.
I like the fact he likes the look of the shirt. I also have a memory of Me sensing that there was something a little awry about him, not in a threatening way yet, but that he was not quite finished as a human being. There was a sort of loneliness, and I felt sorry for him a little.
Carp, tench, barbel,
Do you really catch all those? Where are we?
You're in a mystery. Mystery? Oh.
We are now driving away from the river. The river's back there already, and we're driving up a hill. There are beech trees, tall beech trees, and sandy, chalky banks. And the road is carved in this hill. And I know I've done the wrong thing. And my heart starts to pound.
All right, so that gives you kind of a taste of the short film, and I've only heard of stop motion being used as therapy in a story that Ray Harryhausen told one time, where a person that he knew had multiple sclerosis, and so I don't remember the names anymore of the story or anything like that, but I remember Ray Harryhausen. Teaching this one particular friend of his who was in a wheelchair, if I recall, tips on how to animate and stuff, and how that helped that person to, to cope with their illness. So this is really, kind of a, just interesting in that it's such a personal story, and it's told through these clay characters, and the stories are true, and Tim Mercier gives his personal opinions and feelings on what happened as a child. So Matast. So what were we talking about here? What are you talking about? No, Animatast. Alright. Well, anyways, I can't figure it out. My apologies. Normally I can figure it out, but so anyhow, I might post this article, and maybe I'll post a video too on our Facebook page for you guys if you want to check it out later and read everything for yourself. So moving forward, so this is another new article that I found, and this is something that we could talk about and maybe debate in terms of how this is, the process of using virtual reality for stop motion. And now, if you guys have followed the news, there's a lot of new virtual reality headset devices that have come out just recently. I believe there's like there's the Rift S, Oculus Rift S, I think. There's the new Vive, which came out a while back, but they're working on another one. There's the Oculus headset, not Oculus. Where's the Steam one? The Valve what? Anyway, so there's just a bunch of them coming out, and I can't remember what they're all called. But it's really becoming accessible to a lot of people. I guess also the PlayStation has a VR headset that you can buy as well. So I think all in all, there's probably about maybe 7 to choose from at this point. There's also the Pimax, which is supposed to be very wide angled, and these devices are becoming more common. They're the numbers show that it's not a dying fad, and sort of like, I guess 3D TVs were kind of a fad if you recall. So 3D TVs aren't really, I guess, made anymore. But that was something that a lot of people were, saying, well, this is something that's going to change the industry, and people are going to buy these, and it's going to be, replace your computer monitors, and it's going to replace, your home theater system and all that kind of stuff. And also, there's also like a phone, which I guess they didn't learn, but there's the Red phone that came out, and I think we talked about this a few months back, where they have the 3D capabilities without having to use a headset or anything like that, and it just uses a screen which has I believe it's like a cover, which has which angles the light left and right to your eyes, and so the image is like broken up into rows. So it's sort of like those old. If you've ever gone to a store as a kid and they have like a photo of maybe lions or something, and you turn the entire thing left and right, and it appears like the lion is three-dimensional. So if you've ever seen those and you've taken your fingernail and scratched across the surface, you can actually feel the way that they've constructed it, and how the surface is designed to deflect light one way or the other, and that gives you the 3D effect. So VR is similar to that in that the image is left and right, but one eye sees one entire image, and one eye sees another image, and your brain interprets it. And of course, because they're it's like a 3D film in a theater, same exact principle. But there are different types of VR photography techniques, and so this one here, it says VR is a strangely fitting home for stop motion animation. Gymnasia is a perfect quirky demonstration of technical prowess. And so, okay, so the quality is amazing. The puppets look really cool, and it's like a derelict old building, like a gymnasium. And so it says here, strange, fantastical things are brewing in VR, and the Tribeca Film Festival Immersive Arcade is a great place to find them. One of the most intriguing things I saw at the festival this year was a stop-motion experience that also uses CGI and 3D 360-degree video to craft a creepy gymnasium. Sure, stop-motion is relatively low tech, but the combination of technologies produces something truly unique. So, yeah, one of the limits of actually filming stuff in VR is if you try to shoot it in 360, the way that the camera moves is it just moves around, left, right, maybe up and down, and it's one spherical image that you can look, with your headset around in. There's not much of a three-dimensional effect. However, there are ways to make it three-dimensional, but it's really complicated, and also the computer technology is not really at a place where it works that well. But 180 VR is much, it's superior in that everything is three-dimensional, and just looks a lot more immersive. So I guess what they've done here is, if they're going to, they're using CGI for like the basketballs and whatnot, and I don't know if they've made those 3D in this space, 360 space or not, but it says, to be clear, Gymnasia isn't the first stop motion piece in VR. Felix and Paul Studios had previously worked on other VR projects with stop motion elements, like last year's Isle of Dogs behind the scenes, which you could see on YouTube, I believe. This is not. Let me see here. Well, I'm not going to click that, but it says by Gymnasia's creators Chris Lavis and Masiak. Well, how do you pronounce that? I don't know. Believe it is the first piece to be a full 360-degree experience, complete with a set and stop-motion puppets shot in the same environment without green screen or photogrammetry. So that means that, it says the shooting process was difficult, they told Engadget. The sets and puppets were created and hand-animated at 1/3 scale, then complemented with some computer-generated elements. The 2 to 3 seconds a day of animation is typical in our work, but what made this extraordinary was the length of the shots, Lavis said. One scene in particular involved 2 minutes of animation, which took months to shoot because the puppets were actually on set, not in front of a green screen. Details in the environment had to be meticulously maintained for continuity. If the puppet had busted a wire, the camera rig broken down, or the animator lose his courage or concentration. It does take courage, I suppose. The shot would have been ruined, and there wasn't the time nor budget to go back. The entire piece runs 6 minutes long, and it's an eerie experience starring characters who look like they were rejected from the Nightmare Before Christmas for being too realistic or unsettling. You find in an abandoned grade school gymnasium with music, sheets strewn all over the floors. Ghostly shadows of kids flit around you, and about 24 basketballs start bouncing on their own. A creepy baby doll wearing a goth schoolmarm dress riding a projector rolls in front of the hallway, looking for something. Finally, you find yourself transported to the stage where a zombie-like boy starts singing a haunting melody as you're both watched by the projector lady baby. So it is pretty creepy. There's no real coherent storyline to Gymnasia. There's no conflict or climax, but there is plenty of atmosphere and technical beauty. It also helped that the exhibit at the Tribeca Film Festival's immersive arcade was housed in a dark room with the same music sheets strewn all over the floor. There was even an actress on site dressed as the projectionist, complete with oversized bobblehead. So that's pretty crazy, huh? Hey, a whiskey. And hey, Mr. Gold. So Gymnasia is an impressive demonstration of the creator's skill. There were some stalled frames during my preview, but I wasn't sure if that was because the headset was laggy or the animation was glitchy, but the hiccups didn't take away from the experience. So that's exactly what I was trying to say before, is that 360 is the worst way to film things at the moment, because computer hardware really can't keep up if you want to have it to be high quality. So now, where's that video I saw? Where was the video? Was it here? Ah, yes, it was here. Okay. This is the video. So I'm going to play this here. It's the behind the scenes. Oh, where are you? There we go. So behind the scenes video of how they made this. And so obviously this is not 360 in itself. What they've done, I guess, is they spliced out parts of it. So this is just, reference film next to the animation. I guess he's trying to get the timing to be correct, and that's one way to do it. It's a great way to do it, actually. I mean, you could actually rotoscope if you wanted to, if you want to really be precise, but just having reference is good enough. But I would say the only thing that let me pause it here. The only thing that I would say about the animation, just as is that I kind of think that in stop motion you can do so much more than what is natural, and animating things in a realistic way. I mean, maybe that's okay, But looking at the reference of this child here, and then we have the child puppet talking. It's so straight ahead and kind of wooden. If you guys know what I mean, it's not very lively, and like I said, maybe there's a reason that he decided to do that. But here you can see that the camera is on a rig which spins around, does a 360-degree motion. And now maybe this is in stereo, so it appears that the camera is spinning 360 here, and then it seems to be sliding back and forth, so it actually could be in 3D. And this here, I don't understand entirely. We got like a butterfly. But it's kind of, I don't know. It's like one of those things that I wouldn't mind seeing it, but I have a feeling I'd be really disappointed for some reason. There's like no story. Animation seems kind of wooden. The sets look amazing. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you find it kind of interesting, or would you like to see something like this? I mean, out of curiosity, I would see it, but like I say, I prefer characters in a story of some sort. But maybe they're just trying to get you to feel like you're in another world and immersed by it, you know, and just to absorb the theatrical sort of lighting and the eerie feeling that you would get from seeing, you know, a oversized doll head on a child or something. So anyway, I thought it was kind of an interesting thing. So VR is, like I say, it's still emerging, and stop motion has not really fully embraced VR yet, nor has you know, like pretty much any animation that's traditional. And I guess like cell animation, you could actually make a VR cell animated film. In fact, you know, make it three-dimensional somehow, and sort of like, you know, Snow White used that whole system of planes of glass to sort of, you know, give a three-dimensional effect. I mean, you could do that and actually film that in virtual reality in 180, and that would actually be really kind of amazing. So Hoser Lou says, reminds me a bit of Anomalisa. I hated that thing. Did you really? Yeah, Anomalisa did have that sort of creepy vibe to it, didn't it? Like Victorian era, kind of dark and dirty and very detailed. So Animata says, I guess the nowadays paradox, it's if you want to emulate reality or narrate a cartoon. I personally get realistic backgrounds, but you have to face the perfectionist. My characters are cartoonish. So, Oh Whiskey, you know, that's a good question. I don't really know. I don't know why there's no story to it. It seems to be something that they're just playing with in order to, like, maybe see if they can get you to feel immersed in the sets and with these characters. That's the only thing I can think. And Hoser Lou says it's too realistic. Yeah, I mean, Anomalisa had those real eyes superimposed over the puppets. Which, you know, there was a phase when people were trying to do that. When Anomalisa did that, it was like there was some copycat, you know, artists out there doing similar things. But yeah, this here, it's almost like something you would see in Chernobyl, you know. So the building's been just derelict, and there's been, you know, leaky roofs and mold and nature kind of going inside and eating the wallpaper and, you know, that sort of stuff. But let me see here. So I'm gonna click on this and see if there's any more videos here. So okay, so this is just the National Film Board. It's like their Vimeo page for, I guess, for just marketing whatever is going to be playing. But yeah, I mean, it's really kind of interesting, but like I say, you know, the animation, yeah, it's like, it also is realistic, right? I mean, it's modeled after human action and timing and pacing and limitations, which maybe that's like I say, the point of the film is to have that realistic motion to it, but yeah, I don't know. But hey, who knows? Maybe it's really good. I haven't seen it, so I shouldn't be so negative. So Animatot says Anomalisa doesn't do anything but feel sorry about the stop motion as his director did. He did not want stop motion in the first place. And everything you can criticize about Anomalisa, you get the same if you criticize hyperrealism. It's okay to imitate reality, but how boring, I think you mean to say. Yeah. I mean, what's cool about stop motion is, like if you take a film like Empire Strikes Back and you have the Tauntauns, you're creating something which is realistic, but it also has this imaginary creature that, Han Solo or Luke Skywalker are riding on the back of, and that is something that takes advantage of stop motion, because that is something that cannot exist. And while of course these characters couldn't technically exist, a doll can't come to life. So in a way, it's similar, but it's very I don't know. Yeah, that's very true. So anyways, kind of an interesting, idea. It's called Gymnasia, and I guess you'd have to see this, in some sort of a convention center or something along those lines. But so you can't really see this on the internet for now. So what else? What else can we talk about? I mean, I didn't really have anything else lined up. We got about 20 more minutes left. Is there anything you guys would like me to... Oh, that's right. You want to talk about this. So, The Dark Crystal, of course, was out in... I'm trying to think what year it was. I'm going to say, 87, perhaps. 1987, somewhere around there. So I actually saw this in theaters when it came out as a kid. And, it's one of my all-time favorite films. And, the fact that Jim Henson really took he gambled on, the style, and he took a gamble on the story. And, we're talking about good versus evil. It's a spiritual story. And the characters are absolutely, grotesque looking, the Skeksis, and, they eat, all the good characters and for lunch, and they suck the essence out of the creatures they capture, and you have the Gelflings, I guess they're called, and, these characters are stewards of the spiritual path, because they... Well, actually, maybe not in this. They're not. But... was it 1982? Okay. I wasn't sure if it came out before or after Return of the Jedi. I wasn't really positive about that. But, the characters are very engrossing, and back then they didn't really have the same technology as now, but so now they're making the characters, I think, out of silicone, and they have skin pores, and they have these realistic looking teeth. Like, look at these teeth on this character here. You've got the teeth, you got the gums, you've got realistic eyes, and you've got the skin pores, and the level of detail, I believe, is almost more in this TV or Netflix series, I should say, than in the original. The original used like foam latex, and the characters were not bad or anything, but these look to be much more emotive and much more also accurate to the original designs. and just look just fantastic. And so I can't really, I mean, I haven't seen them animated yet. Maybe somebody out there has seen like uh, a snapshot, or not a snapshot, a clip of some of this, but I haven't. But yeah, I mean, just the sets themselves are. Let me make this bigger so you guys can see. This is all handcrafted arts, much like stop motion is, and so you kind of have to respect these artists for what they've done, and reproduce the chamber where all these Skeksis are. And I'm not sure if this is a one-to-one copy of the original, but it really kind of looks like it is. And I also believe that these might be characters that were in the original film. Like these two here I kind of recognize from the original. This guy here I don't really recognize. He's got like a nose and head armor of some sort. So maybe, some of these characters die before before the end of this series. I think this is before the film, so these would lead up to that. So I guess these would be the original characters. So yeah, everything is just so detailed. All the got plants and lights and the crystals and some sort of octopus-looking creature that they're eating here, and something that's already been eaten, and just like there's another sort of squid thing. And then this one here, of course, we can expand. And, I made note on my Facebook page about this, that the photography looks really beautiful. So, yeah, Randy met Joan Gratz, yep. And Randy says, I'm still starstruck. Yeah, Joan Gratz is an amazing artist. I think she's the only person that really has ever animated clay, but as a paint. Alright, so let me open up a new tab here. So is there anything you guys have heard, or you guys have anything you want me to show, like any of your artwork or anything you heard about? Anything else? I'm trying to think of what we could talk about for the next 20 minutes or so. But I'm really excited about it. I think that's going to be a great TV series. As long as the storyline is good, I think we'll do great. Or they'll do great. So Anavatar says that's amazing, but probably more stop motion would have changed the whole thing. Was there stop motion in there? In Dark Crystal? I think the only stop motion that they had in there was where they had like a crystal that came out of like a bowl, like a cauldron, like a green crystal if I remember, and then like it forms and then changes color. It's been a while since I've seen it. And Randy says, if you have nothing else to show, could you show my Aussie house swap ads? Yeah, I could do that. Let's see here. Let me do this first. Which, by the way, Randy, I saw you posting all your pictures on. Oh, what is this? It says I'm not signed into YouTube. Oh, this is not good. Definitely signed into YouTube. There we go. I don't understand this. Why am I not signed in? I'm broadcasting. I didn't sign out. Alright, well anyway, that shouldn't matter. So, I'm going to try to find it. Oh, wait. Randy, is it on your Facebook page? I'm not seeing it here as a new video on your YouTube channel. Alright, let me open up Facebook real quick. Alright, I'm looking up your page on Facebook and I found it. Alright, Randy, you're gonna have to probably help me out here. If you could, on Facebook, just send me the links. In the meantime, what I'll do is I'm gonna show you guys what Randy posted. So he's got pictures of his studio. You can see all these amazing puppets, like 500 puppets on all the shelves. Which some of these you guys have seen in the past, actually many times, because we've watched a lot of Randy's films on our live show. Randy has all his characters in no buildings. It's hard to store buildings, though. Got like Dolly Parton, and then so he says the ads on my channel are in the playlist title ads. Oh, okay. Let me see here. 1 second. Let me bring it up here. Alright, let me do this and playlist. It's the is it the TV ads and corporate productions? Let me see here, title ads. It's the only one with ads, so I'm gonna click it.
Cyril told me they didn't even use my recipe. No wonder the scones were so dry and they just ruined the taste of my homemade jam. The tablecloth was just a disaster. It wasn't even ironed. Like the time Cyril and I had the bowls morning tea. They didn't even use a tablecloth then. I offered to pick one up, but no, they said we've already got one. Already got one. I don't call that a tablecloth. And I was just at the shops that day too. There were boys everywhere on their skateboards with caps on backwards. When I was young, there was none of this sort of nonsense.
Is that a true story?
Oh.
It's really funny, Randy. I've seen it before, but still.
You just beat the Space Lizard. What are you going to do now?
I'm going to Starfest.
What?
A weekend of science fiction overload. So many guest stars, you'll blow a warp coil. Costumes, movie previews, merchandise, and more. April 19th through 21st at Holiday Inn DIA. Get tickets at King Soopers.
Wow.
Next!
back to stomping on toy cars. Next! What do you call a really smart monster? Frank Einstein. Get it? Has anyone ever accused you of being funny? Next! Where can I find some decent monsters?
Try Hallow Scream, a double creature feature every Friday in October. Here's what's creeping your way next Friday night.
The next best thing to breakfast in bed is breakfast at the Beat.
One minute. That's all it would have taken, 1 minute, to put on the safety gear. Now I don't ever want to take it off. 'Cause, look, it's really tough to swallow. You think you got it bad.
Funny, Randy.
Hey, Fred, I can't loosen this bolt. Oh, I see the problem. Allow me. Huh? No, wait! Oh, man, I just had this suit cleaned. Whoa. Bummer.
Hi, Chuck.
Hi, Wilma. Fred had a little problem at work today. Hi, honey.
You forgot your safety gear, didn't you? And the milk.
Still alive. We're gonna wrap up this video and end the show. I haven't tossed. want to cut that video short, so I figured we would just go through the whole thing, which I think was an awesome little compilation of historic photos. So thanks, Randy. Yep, this thing. Well, I didn't want to interrupt. I was gonna actually type here in the chat, and for some reason, it's logged me out. I'm logged in because I am streaming, but when it says here I'm signed out. So I could not type, and I was gonna interact with you guys, but I could not. But anyways, that does wrap up our show for this week. Now next week, let's see, what is today? It's the 22nd. We might not have a live show next Wednesday, which will be the 29th. My wife is going to be on vacation, and we're probably going to go out and go to maybe Branson, Missouri. We were going to go to an air show this weekend, but they called it off due to the airport getting flooded, believe it or not. But there's other air shows happening all throughout the week, and so we might end up going to St. Charles, Missouri, although I don't know for sure. Kind of depends on the weather and everything else. But anyways, yeah, so thanks to everybody for stopping by. Hopefully, you know, the news and oh, people are starting to write to me here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the news that we went over, and I will see you perhaps in 2 weeks. Alrighty, see you next time.